Hey, number 73, Abuelo and the Nieto. We talk Miami sports. You can follow us on Facebook, YouTube, also TikTok. And we'll be talking about the Canes. They have a new quarterback, and a quarterback that
They do.
promises a lot of good things. And of course, Dolphins, Hayfley, can he do it in 1 year? Can he turn it around? Some questions there. And we're talking Giannis, maybe to the Heat. That's a possibility. All of that in Abuelo and the Nieto, sponsored by Balado Tires, two locations in Miami to serve you better. If you're looking for tires, Tyler is Balado Tires, but this is number 73, right?
73. We dedicate every episode to a former Miami legend or a current player that wore the number. We got our second Bob in a row. Let me know who number 73 is.
Yeah, Bob Van Howard, Tyler,
Yeah.
part of the Killer Bees. Those Killer Bees. He came in 77 with the Dolphins, uh, retired, left in 1986. And he was part of the Killer Bees. Excellent defense that Miami had in the late 70s and the 80s. And, a lot of them had that last name. So you had the Blackwood brothers. You also had, of course, had the defensive tackle Van Howard, which was an excellent player, great player for the Miami Dolphins.
All right, well, moving on, Miami Hurricanes. Obviously, big news. They continue their I guess now 3 straight years of getting a kind of a veteran quarterback out of the transfer portal to carry their team into the next season. Darian Mensah from Duke. He's a transfer from Tulane. Actually, had a great freshman year there, and last year or two at Duke, he was the best quarterback in the ACC. 34 touchdowns, 6 interceptions, almost 4,000 yards. Very efficient. I guess obviously a lot of young receivers, but these young receivers are proven at this point, and we're getting to the point where Malachi Tony is now going to be this team's probably true number one next year, and then a couple new guys will have to step up. But excited to see what he'll do with these weapons, and I think it's an interesting Cristobal is doing. I kind of agree with it. I mean, quarterback's a position where you just need to be experienced. Building up a guy 2, 3 years, you know what's going to happen there, and it's more of a guarantee in my opinion.
Yeah, and he brought in together with him Barcade, a guy caught over 70 passes with Duke. They look to be very powerful at the running back position, all the skill positions, Tyler, tight end, you name it. Some of the question marks will be on the offensive line. They have a new guard, a new right tackle, a new left tackle, so and a new center. So that offensive line was played at a very high level. So let's see whether those guys will be ready. They got basically the number one tackle available in recruiting. Went to the Canes. Some people had him as the number one player in the country. So he'll be playing right tackle, and that will be a big help. But he's taking the place of a guy that might go in the first five of the first round in Magayoa, something like that. That last name kills me, Tyler. But some changes. So let's see how these guys work. If they work pretty well, their offense will be extremely explosive. And then the questions on the edge rushers losing again. In Bain, one of the top five guys coming into the draft in the first round. Uh, that's going to be tough. And Messidor is pretty close to Bain. So that will be the big question. Maybe some questions at linebacker. But Mensa, Tyler, he's a guy that can do it all. Maybe he can run a little better, but he can do the play action very well. And he's very good on the run throwing, and he can throw the deep pass very well. In my opinion, he could be maybe not a lot better, but definitely a little bit better than your friend Carson Beck. So, we had a pretty good quarterback last season. We have a very good opportunity of even being better at that position. So the question now to you, Tyler, Is this another playoff team? And this is one of the best what, three or four teams in college football this coming season, Tyler?
I'd have to take a better, evaluation at the rest of the teams in college football. But I mean, you got to take into account they're losing a lot of people. I think you look at this team's best. If you name their 10 best players, they're probably losing more than half of them. So that's something you have to take into account. I think it's a little bit early. I don't want you to kind of go in the time machine and then call me out for being wrong here. So
I don't
I don't
want
know.
I
I
don't
don't know
want to
what I
get
was
too
gonna say.
excited. Not too excited. Okay.
Yeah, but I mean the quarterback, obviously quarterback is one of the three most important positions in football probably. So obviously having him there is going to be great. But you're losing Bain, you're losing Mesidor, you're losing Mawigoa. That guy, I think it was Jackson Cantwell, or I forgot what his name was, the number one recruit that you mentioned, the offensive tackle. I'm sure he'll eventually blossom into a great player, but that's going to take some time. I don't expect him, to be that guy right away. So we'll see what happens. I think heading in the right direction is what I'd answer your question with.
Yes,
If you
and they have to, because this time around was very difficult to get Mensa, and they had to dish out a lot of money, so they have to develop some of those new quarterbacks that they have coming in, and let's see what they bring now in December. But they got two young quarterbacks now there, and they have to develop those quarterbacks and be able to make them starters. They cannot keep going to get a back and get a Mensa every year. That's not going to continue to happen. It's going to be difficult to do that. Tyler, you looking for tires? The place is Balado Tires. Two locations in Miami, Northwest 27th Avenue and 16th Street. And they're also in the Sawacera, Southwest 8th Street and 67th Avenue. 63 years established in the market. That is a long time. They're very competitive with their prices. It's a family business, and they're also offering brake service. You're looking for tires? The place is Balado Tires. Tyler, the Dolphins. What's happening with the Dolphins? Of course, they have a new coach, Hayfley, and what is the expectation? Can he get it done in 1 year, turn it over, be I don't know, a New England, a Denver? What's going on with that?
I mean, he has a lot of coaching experience. He seems like a very emotional guy. We saw him shed a couple tears in that opening press conference, which I actually liked. A few people didn't like that. I heard on WQAM they were kind of making fun of him a little bit, but very passionate person. He's somebody who has been a head coach previously. He was the head coach at Boston College for a few years, defensive coordinator at Green Bay. I think he's I was listening to Diana Rossini on the Dan Levitard show. I think I'd mentioned this. She kind of surveyed through a bunch of NFL executives, coaches, and they said he is the type of person you want if you're trying to change the culture on your team. If you need a high energy, passionate, engaged individual, we saw what strategy did for this team. It only went so far. They blew teams out of the water with strategy for a year. They, were the newest coolest thing, and then all of a sudden everybody figured them out, and this team had no culture. They had no real strength or toughness to them, and as a football team you need that. And I think Hafley's the type of person you got to throw in there if you're gonna. Also, how many great coaches were available? You kind of got to just be happy with what you got at this point and see what happens. Those people that want this super experienced head coach, they're not on a team for a reason. They got fired for a reason. Harbaugh may be an exception there. Tomlin's not available, so I'm happy with him. I think we'll see how this turns out. The biggest question to me wasn't head coach. This team has a lot of personnel questions that they need to address at some of the most important positions on the field.
Yes, it's not going to be easy. I don't think he's turning it over in 1 year, Tyler. So, I'll come out and straight and say it. That he needs to develop the team. He's going to have to make quite a few changes. He's going to have to bring a lot of players in. And I think they're doing it the right way. It starts with Sullivan up at GM. They're bringing, guys at different positions and mostly through the draft. I don't think they're going to be that aggressive in free agency, at least not now. And they have a number of positions they got to take care of. You start with quarterback. Decisions there, whether yours is the guy, whether it's Tua, maybe Tua, I don't think so, but I think there's a remote possibility. And then they're bringing in probably a rookie, not early, but late in the draft, and also a guy, a free agent that probably they'll sign and create a competition there. And then you have corners, cornerback. You have different positions, receiver, of course, maybe safety, and they want to build from inside out, which is a very good decision in my opinion. So if they do that, they're fairly deep now in the offensive line and defensive line. It's not that they're in bad shape there, but they might have to bring a couple of people there also if they want to build inside out. And definitely an option that they should consider is edge, because there's a situation now with the veteran, edge that they have, uh, and which they might move him. They might move him in a trade, so they might need someone else besides Chubb Robinson.
So the Miami Heat, obviously, kind of having that interesting start to the season, pretty encouraging. Now things are looking a little bit up and down. I think it's clear this team needs a big will, at least another superstar, if they want to be a real, legitimate, consistent contender. And one guy that's available, apparently seems to be open, completely open, and really wants it at this point, is Giannis Antetokounmpo, to the idea of a trade from the Milwaukee Bucks. Obviously, former Finals MVP, NBA MVP, multiple time All Star. I'd say, you'd probably agree with me when I'd say a top three player in the NBA. You could make an argument for the top player. And I think Miami's a fit for him. We mentioned Morant a couple weeks earlier on the podcast. I disagreed. This is someone who I could see fitting in here. He has that character, that fit into Heat culture. He's more of a veteran, more of an experienced, put together player, and I see him fitting into this team's style pretty well. I'm not sure how you feel about that.
Yeah, no, definitely. I think it would be a great, a great move for the Heat if they can make it. The thing there's competition there, Tyler. You have of course, the Knicks, you have Golden State, you have Minnesota, and then Miami as the favorite. I think that Miami's right there in the middle. They might not be number one, but they're probably number two, because Minnesota, and of course it depends what Milwaukee is looking for. The rumors are that they're looking. It's very important for them draft picks. If that is the case, then maybe Golden State is one, and then Miami might be number two, especially they can move, let's say, Wiggins to get a number one pick and add that to the trade. By young players, you're looking for young players, then Miami is number one probably in what they can offer. So it all depends in what's the situation with Milwaukee. But I would say Miami's one or two there, because I see a disadvantage with Minnesota and the Knicks, what they can offer, and especially not being able to offer draft picks. So I would say it's between Golden State and Miami the best opportunity there. And the thing that you worry about is, he's been injured recently, some injuries. Uh, he's got the problems with free throws, and also the 3 pointers. But he's a tremendous player, a good defender, great rebounder. He's got great size, and he's still young, right, around 31 years old. So it will be a great get for Miami, and really can move you up. They might need to bring another guy in, a veteran, but they'll be in good shape. I would not like to give, for example, away Hackett Jr. in particular. I think Hero for sure will be in that trade. Maybe Yacuciones will be in the trade. Uh, Jovic, and then the possibility of the Rosier contract, because that, $26 million that go, and next year he's not around, so you can use that money in the case of Milwaukee to bring a pretty good free agent. So I think that some of the guys that would be in the trade would be those guys, and of course you have to think also of where. where the center. That's another guy that I would not like to see go. But if it's a trade like that you get, Giannis, you definitely have to think about it very seriously, Tyler. Wouldn't you do it?
Yeah, that's the thing. You mentioned with Ware and Hakas as well. I may not lead with them, or I wouldn't lead with them in initial offer, but if they get thrown in, I mean, you have to, as long as you get to keep out of bio, I think you just got to do it. I think a player like that is worth nearly stripping your entire team for. I also think, particularly for a team like the Miami Heat, that have proven that they're able to make something out of nothing with these role players, with these minimum contract guys. If you bring in a guy like Giannis, you have him playing with Bam, they're going to get the most out of the rest of their players. You keep Mitchell, keep a few other guys, and I really think they'll, like I said, just really take advantage of that. So I think it's worth it. I think it's worth taking the risk. This clear the team's makeup as it is right now is not that of a finals team. They might be able to sneak in the way they have in previous years, but that would be an accident. A lot of players would have
Yeah.
to get hurt. A miracle would have to happen.
They're 7 or 8 right now, maybe a 6 if they stay the same way. But they need something else, and a whale will be great. And something that is interesting, Tyler, and I throw this in because that this has to do with it. Has to do with the situation a lot of the time. Adebayo, Larson, and there is another guy there. There's three guys on the Heat right now that have the same agent as Giannis. So and Powell is the other one. So that has a lot to do sometimes where a player is moved. Okay, so that I think that situation definitely helps the Heat. And you know what also helps, Tyler? If you need tires, to go to Balado Tires. Balado Tires, yeah, 2 locations in Miami, Northwest 27th Avenue and 16th Street, also Southwest 8th Street and 67th Avenue. They're very competitive with their prices. They also have great service. So if you're looking for tires in South Florida, the place to go is Balado Tires. But we got something else going, right? Your favorite team and sport, right?
Yes, I'm actually going to lead the soccer segment today.
You're gonna leave it for me this time around, even though you
No,
you
no, no. I'm
are
gonna
an
I'm gonna lead
expert.
it. I'm gonna lead it. I'm gonna be the one to do it.
Oh, you're gonna lead it? Wow.
Yeah, yeah, I got
Uh,
it. No, I'm
Okay,
kidding. No, you
go
got it.
go go.
That's all yours. That's all
Oh
yours,
no,
my friend. I
I thought you were gonna
I don't.
surprise me, Tyler. No, no, okay. So we're talking like always about Inter Miami because Tyler doesn't want to help me with this. Inter Miami, well, they're going through preseason, Tyler, but they lost an important guy, Reguilon, Sergio Reguilon. I know that you're friend with him. He was the left winger for the team. Well, he's still the left winger. He came from. He played at Real Madrid, by the way, a few years ago. He's a talented player, still young enough. He's had some injuries, and then he had another injury, a knee injury in that first exhibition game that they had, recently in Peru. So he's gonna be out probably 5 6 weeks. So he might not be ready for the start of the season. He should not be ready for the start of the season, but hopefully they can get him back in 6 weeks. So maybe they'll have a couple of new guys on the left wing there. One of the guys will be Lujan, probably. And, the good news is that they finally signed a guy that they've been talking to for a while, Germán Berterame, the forward. He comes from Monterrey, Mexico, and he had 105 goals already in his career at the club level. He did pretty well for Monterrey. He's part of the National League. I mean, of the national team of Mexico, even though he was born in Argentina. So that guy is going to help definitely up front with Luis Suarez, and also he helps Messi a lot. So the team, you look at the team on paper. Once they get Reguilon back, is pretty loaded. I think it's probably a better team than they were last season when they won the title. So you really cannot ask for more as far as Inter Miami is concerned. But I always ask for more. And now I'm asking something from you, Tyler. Like to recognize Miami athletes, Miami young athletes. So what do you have for me, Tyler?
Yeah, this will be actually the last version of our national championship Miami guys. Obviously, we had so many of them representing South Florida from the last game. A lot of them, American. This is D'Angelo Pons, the cornerback from Indiana, from Miami, Florida. Went to Chaminade. He was one of the best players on the field throughout the entire game. He was wearing number 5, and he was most outstanding player of the Peach defensive player game of the game in the Rose Bowl, and he was a first team All American at corner this year. He came over with Coach Kurt Signetti from James Madison. Was pretty lightly recruited out of Chaminade. He's not a big guy. He's about 5'8", 170 pounds, but has just really played his butt off. Very tenacious player, but he's also technically sound at cornerback, and I think he's somebody that, despite his size, probably gonna have an impressive combine. Gonna run a good 40, do a good vertical, and might end up as a first, second round pick in the NFL draft, especially as a first team All American.
Okay, that's good. That picture, I like it. Tyler, you are looking for tires over there in New York? No, you're not, because you have your bicycle, and Balado Tires doesn't have any, tires for
Bicycle.
bicycle. And I'm not gonna, waste my time. They don't waste their time with bicycle tires in Balado. They have those tires for cars, and they're very competitive with their prices. 63 years established in Miami. That is a long time. And they have two locations: Northwest 27th Avenue and 16th Street, and Southwest 8th Street and 67th Avenue. Looking for tires in South Florida, the place to go, Balado Tires. And Tyler, one of my favorite segments, they're at the end of Abuelo and the Nieto, right?
Yes, I'm gonna let you go first. This is a Dolphins question, so I want to see how it takes you.
All right, all right. I'm going with the Canes. I'm going with the Canes. This is one that you might be able to do well with it. I'm the one that always does bad, but you're gonna probably get it. Who is the UN quarterback with more passing touchdowns in his career with the Canes?
In a career,
A guy that was there quite a few years, right? Right, 1 year or 2 years.
oh, Brad Kaya.
No, no, it's not Brad. You know, this guy is kind of skinny, tall guy, skinny. Uh, has some very good numbers, very good players around him, excellent players around him.
Skinny tall guy, Ken Dorsey.
There you go, Tyler. You see, I gave you pretty good help. I gave
Yeah,
you good
yeah, you
help.
did.
I
I got
helped
it
you
wrong.
a lot. All right. Ken Dorsey, 86 touchdowns in his career from 99 to 2002. So now beat me up like you always do.
Okay, this is a this is a top this is
It
a
is the
top three
truth.
question for you. I think you're gonna get 2 out of the 3 right. The second one is a little bit random, but if you got it right, I think our fans would like it.
Okay.
Who is the top 3 players in Dolphins history with most games played for the team? I think 2 out of the 3 will be obvious. The third one, the third one might be obvious if you worked for the team the whole time too.
Uh, Dan Marino.
Yeah,
Dan Marino is one. Uh,
there's another easy
uh,
one.
another easy one. Offense, defense,
Defense.
defense. Uh, I'm trying to think on defense. Uh,
Wait, is my mom there?
Yes, she knows. Oh, Jason
Yell,
Taylor.
yell. Yeah,
Jason
yeah,
Taylor.
yeah.
Jason Taylor. Oh
That's
yeah,
all I
because
had to
his
say, huh?
yeah his mom his mom is a fan of Jason Taylor. The third one, Tyler. I don't know. I'm gonna say, or I
Wait,
don't
wait,
have it
wait,
right.
wait, 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 wait. I'll give you the position. Say the name, and I'll give you the position and say the name.
Okay, give
Long
me the position.
snapper.
Long
Long
snapper. Oh,
snapper.
I know who he is. I'm seeing him, Tyler. But you know me. You know me, Tyler. The name kills me. You go ahead and tell me because this is going on too long, Tyler. I'm not gonna get it.
John Denny.
Danny, yes, yeah, yeah, Danny. He speaks Spanish a little bit. I understand, by the way, Mr. John Denny.
Oh, I didn't
You
know that.
see, I know stuff about the guys. I might remember the numbers, but you kill me with the names sometimes, Tyler. We done it again, Tyler. Another abuelo and the nieto, talking Miami sports. Hey, hey, I haven't mentioned this recently, but you want to advertise with us? Let us know. Give us give us contact us there through Facebook, uh, TikTok, YouTube. YouTube, we're doing very well with our numbers. So, you want to support Abuelo and the Nieto, go ahead. And like I always say, arrivederci. Hasta luego.